What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we have $650 worth of mixed customer rolls from one of my locals, Wells Fargo, in front of me. As you can see, we've got some Loomis wrapped rolls, we've got lots and lots of customer wrapped rolls, and we have lots of different types of wraps. We've got 160 in dimes, we've got 80 in nickels, and we have $410 worth of quarters, which, if I did my math right, that does come to $650. So depending on the length of this video, I may break it up into two parts. And if I do break it into two parts, we'll do nickels and dimes and nickels in part one and quarters in part two. But if we don't find a whole lot, we may stuff them all into this one video. So I'm kind of excited to jump into these coins. What we're going to be doing is looking through these things for anything odd, interesting, or of numismatic value that we could either collect or sell for more than the face value of the individual coin. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into these $160 worth of dimes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up a handful of dime wraps from this $160 worth. And if you are new to coin roll hunting dimes, there's not a whole lot to look for when it comes to these guys. There's a handful of DDOs, or double die obverses and double die reverses, mainly 67 Philly, 68 Philly, and 68 San Francisco. There is a 1970 DDR as well. And then there's a 1982 Philly no mint mark, and a 2004, both Philly and Denver, there's a double ear error. Now, I do have a document in the description down below this video that is very useful if you're going to hunt coins like I'm doing here today, that will go through all of the various mint errors, varieties, and valuable coins that you could be looking for if you wanted to try this out. It's a great little starter list for you, and it's free to download. You're welcome to go down there and download it. And what I'm going to do as I open these first couple of rolls really is just do a quick edge hunt for silver, because they did make dimes out of silver from 1964 and earlier. So if you can find yourself a 1964, 63, 54, what have you, dime, you've got yourself a little $2 or $3 hunk of silver. So that's one of the main things that we're always on the lookout for when we open these dime rolls. And as you can see here, I'm struggling to get this thing to line up so I can edge hunt. But lately we've been finding kind of one silver dime in just about every hunt. Maybe not every hunt, but a lot of our hunts. And like I said, I'll put a value of what a silver dime is going for today, so you get an idea of how much they're worth. I will say that, you know, unless you get lucky and find a nice big dump, you know, like a customer dump of silver dimes, it's typically not worth it to hunt these things for that silver, just because there's so little in it. But this is a coin roll hunting channel, and, you know, we do this for you guys, and we do this for me, and so I will always try to find some silver for us. Dimes typically are a pretty slow hunt, especially if you're going to try to look at all the dates and mint marks that I called out in the beginning of the video. You're definitely going to want yourself some sort of microscope or high-end magnifying glass, something probably 16x, maybe 20x or higher. Otherwise, you will go blind. So I do have some of that equipment in the description of this video with my Amazon affiliate links. If you are in need of any kind of search book or microscope, if that's interesting for you. So make sure you check that out. So that's 4 rolls of dimes. Let's do one more customer wrap, and I know I'm making a mess. That's okay. I'm going to go back through probably only about half of these dimes looking for those errors, because lately all I look for is our silver when it comes to dimes. But I'm not beyond looking for a few errors and varieties from time to time in dimes, because they do exist. They are out there, and I'm struggling here. And a 90% dime is not going to be just a little gray. It's going to be silvery all the way through, and I'm making a complete mess of these rolls. Because it is 90% silver, so you're not going to see that clad layer. So if you see any copper or any line, like that coin right there kind of looks like it wants to be silver, but I don't believe it to be the case, even though it's pretty cruddy. Let's see if I can get a mint mark off of it on my little microscope over here. It is a 1999 Philly, so it's just a gunky one. But you can see how it's got 2 tones in there to the color. That's a pretty dead giveaway that you do not have a silver dime. So what I'm going to do is go back through these, see if I find anything interesting. I'll open some more rolls, and if I do find some silver, I'll definitely bring you in for it. So we just got roll number 14 laid out in front of us, and I'm bringing you guys in because we do have something silvery in here, but you can tell from the reading that it's not going to be an American coin. And one of the ways I do like to test our foreigns to see if they're silver is to use a magnet. So these are actually some rare earth magnets for Rubik's Cubes, and you can see here we've got ourselves a Canadian 10-cent piece. Let me just pull that off real quick. I'm over here making a mess. So let's see, we've got, looks like maybe, I think they call this the young head, so it's going to be a little bit older, I believe. And we've got ourselves a 1968. Now, 1968 is one of those years that could be silver, but because we know it's magnetic, we know this one isn't. So if you are finding like 65, 66, 67, 68, make sure you're checking a resource like numista.com to understand what the metal makeup of that coin might be. And I think in 68, they did make like a 50% or an 80% silver dime. So we know this one isn't because it is magnetic. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Now, along the way, I did find a couple other dimes that I wanted to pull out here. This is that 1982 that I mentioned earlier. You're looking for one that doesn't have a Philly mint mark. That one is a variety that, or an error that you're looking for. That's worth a little bit of money. This one's just a regular dime, but I wanted to show you in 82, they did stamp the Philly mint mark on there. So if you find one with no P and no D, you might have something of value there. And the other thing is, and you're going to find this in just about every dime hunt, they used, and I believe it was in 69 and 70, the 68 reverse. And you can tell the difference. It's actually the reverse proof. If you've got 3 big lines here in the flame, then that is a regular dime struck with a proof reverse that has that extra definition. And you can see I pulled another one here. This is a 70D, I think, just to compare. If I can get it flipped over, you can see this flame does not have those 3 defined lines. Now, I haven't looked up the value on those in quite some time, but I don't recall them being very valuable unless the dime was in just fantastic condition. And I find if I do like a box of dimes, I can usually find a couple, 2 or 3 of these in just about every hunt. But if you are hunting dimes, it is something interesting to look for. Now, in the opening clip, I did mention a couple other really valuable dimes you might be looking for. That would include the 1996 West Point minted dime, and then the low mintage 2009 Denver. That's another one you want to keep an eye out for. So with that, let's get back to the hunt. So I was getting 5 more rolls out. I was going to save the Loomis rolls and do those with you guys all at once, but we got something strange in this roll when I laid it out. These are obviously not going to be dimes in here. I didn't see anything else kind of silvery looking, but let's see what we have in here. We have ourselves, I don't know what that is. Looks like some sort of one new shekel from Israel. Don't know what that's worth. We'll have to look that up on Numista, but definitely not a dime. That's just a corroded dime. Looks like we've got 2 of those. A new shekel. I'm not seeing a year on it, so if you know more about these than I do, let me know in the comments down below, and I will check it out on Numista as well, just to see what we have. But definitely not a dime. So at the end of the day, likely just shorted by 5 cents per right there. But we're going to keep on going through these dimes. So we're down to our last 5 rolls of Loomis rolls, and I figured I would open these on camera for you. We haven't really found too much else. I pushed it out to the side. We did find 2 more of the Israeli new shekels. The one new shekel, and looking them up on eBay and on Numista, they're actually worth quite a bit of money. I mean, I'd say quite a bit. Worth like $1, give or take, on eBay. So I've seen them going for a little bit more than that. So maybe we did okay finding these. I don't know if I'd be able to sell them on eBay, but I'll show you that at the end of the video, just some of the listings that I found. So pretty cool. They are definitely copper nickel. They're like 3.5, 4 grams each. So pretty neat, but still not silver. Still not the things we're looking for, but pretty cool foreigns to find. Let's see here. Seeing too much in here. Got an ugly dime. 1995. It's just ugly. And I have, against what I said in the beginning of the video, I've actually been looking at every dime in every roll so far. And so far we haven't really found anything other than those couple of things that I showed you. The reverse proof that we had there. Or the, I guess the coin with the reverse proof. We have had a lot of the 2004 Philly and Denvers. We've checked all those for the extra ear. So far, we haven't found that, and that's one that I have looked for a little bit of time, but just I hunt so few dimes, I don't think I'll ever get one. Sorry if I'm a little off camera there, guys. Just trying to get this in the light so I can see it. All right, let's see here. We got 2 rolls left. I'm just kind of turning this around in the light because sometimes that silver can be a little tough to see. I like to get it at a couple of different angles. All right, here's roll number, I guess, actually I don't even remember, roll number 34 or 32. However many rolls we had. And unfortunately, I don't think we found any silver this time, so I'm going to go ahead and get through these dimes. And like I said, I'll bring you in here once we get done with them, and we'll look at the price of these things on eBay as well as that one reverse proof, just to give you guys an idea what it's worth. And then we'll get into the nickels. Okay, well, I wanted to bring you guys over here to the computer and just kind of show off the couple of things we found while going through the dimes. Now, those 1 new shekels from Israel, as you can see here, I've gone ahead and pulled up eBay. I've gone into the sold listings, and I've looked for this just 1 new shekel. I don't know what year mine is, so take everything I say here with a grain of salt. I'm just showing you what coins similar to the ones I found in my rolls would go for on eBay. Now, this is from Hungary. Went for $1, $3.50 for shipping. No idea how to equate that for selling it from the U.S. But if we scroll down through here, we may be able to find a few that are closer to what we're looking for. So here's all 5 of these look very, very similar to the 4 that I found. Yep, they do. $3.95 buy it now with $4 shipping, so we'll call that $7.95 in total. Call it $8. I'm not even going to try to do the math on my own. That still works out to about 75, 85, 90 cents, something like that per coin with $4 in shipping. So earlier in the video, I think I said I lost a dime on each one. Well, if they're worth 75 or 80 or 90 cents a piece, that's not bad at all. Now here's one that sold from $5, again, shipping from Israel. $1.28 shipping from Australia. So I have no idea how I would value these if I were trying to sell them, but they are pretty cool, and it's not something I will try to sell. It's something I'll just go ahead and hang on to because I found them in a coin roll hunt, but just wanted to give you an idea of the pricing. Here's 4 for $2.50, so you guys can run the math on that. So not bad. Definitely didn't technically lose a dime, but also not super duper valuable. Now, the 1970 dime with the reverse of the 68, or I think I was calling it the proof reverse earlier, this too is kind of all over the map on eBay. Here was somebody with $9.99 who obviously took a best offer. Here's somebody who sold at least, actually they had a P and a D for $9.95 a piece, so let's call them $5 each. Here's somebody that got $5 for it. Now, you're not seeing tons and tons of sales here. We got 2 in February, 1 in March, so I don't get the impression that these are super highly sought after coins. Here's March 26th for $5.99 with free shipping for a Denver. Here's $2 plus $1 shipping. So I do think it's going to come down to how nice is yours and how hungry is there a buyer out there. I mean, here's somebody that got $8 for theirs on March 2nd. So I'm not saying you're going to get that if you find these. I've probably found a dozen of these in the last probably 3 or 4 months, so I don't think they're that hard to find. I think it's probably hard to find them in really high condition. So I went ahead and pulled up PCGS just to get a sense for like the value if they were graded. And again, you can see here the the big lines there in the flame that aren't supposed to be there. Those were in the 68. But a graded G4 is worth 14 bucks. And if you can get up here and find you a really nice dime that's like an MS63 or 64, that's got the 1968 reverse graded, you're talking $95 to $120. So this is a coin. If you can find a super high grade one, I'd keep my eye out for it. So with that, we're going to wrap it up here, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the nickels. So we're moving on to these nickels, and I did want to stop here to say, if you're going to be new to nickel hunting, I do recommend getting some kind of album or something to fill out as you go, because it makes hunting nickels so much more fun. There are a number of errors to look for, but most of them, the greater majority of the ones you're going to look for, are going to be 1964 and earlier. And so if you have something to keep you busy and keep something interesting to look for, like filling out an album to make sure you have every year in mint mark, it just makes it that much more fun. Now, I have an album here from Whitman that goes from 1938 actually to 2023. I've added extra pages to it, and I'm only missing about a dozen nickels out of here. And that does not include all the San Francisco proofs. I have no aspirations of actually finding all of the proofs in circulation, but all of the standard year and mint mark I do plan on getting. Obviously, the other big things you're looking for in your Jefferson nickel is your war nickels from 1942 through 1945. And it does cover 1942P all the way up through 1945S. And right here, I'm missing, I think, 3 or 4 of them. I think 4 of them. So your war nickels are 35% silver, so they're always fun to find. And of course, whenever you're looking at nickels, it is an absolute hoot if you can find really old V nickels or buffalo nickels. So we always have our eye out for those. So again, looking for a bunch of errors, some book fillers, buffaloes, V nickels, and then just love to find those war nickels. So I'm going to go ahead and open maybe 1 or 2 or 3 rolls here on camera just so you guys can see them get opened. If we get lucky and find something old looking in here, I'll take a quick peek at it. But I'm not going to search every single nickel here on camera with you. And I'm just going to spread some of them out real quick just to give them a look. Like you may have seen me do in my $50 hunts, we do go through and look at every single nickel, both year and mint mark, to make sure that we don't have something like a mint error variety to look for. And we also do that because it is entirely possible to miss something important just by trying to edge hunt them, or just go very quickly by looking at the face or the reverse. So I guess I should also point out here that we are looking for nickels from 1959 and earlier. We'll hang on to all of those. I have tubes of those that I'm trying to fill out. And so I'll bring you guys in for those kinds of finds, 1959s all the way down to 1938. And of course older, if we can happen to find something like that. Now I'm going really quickly. I am sure I'm missing some stuff. Like right here is a 1953. It's not in the best of condition, but it is a 1953, and it looks like it is a San Francisco. I don't know if you can see that with this level of magnification, but that would be sort of our first find on the box. And as I said, I went really quickly, so we may have some more hiding back here. I just kind of wanted to look to see if like a buffalo nickel or something like that jumped out. So with that, I'm going to stop here. I'll go back through. I'll bring you back in for at least most of our finds from 1959 and earlier, and we'll definitely bring you in if we find something more interesting than that. So you still have my mess here from those first 3 rolls, and I've actually come across a nickel that is pretty darn interesting, and I have no idea what the value would be. This is actually a 2005 buffalo nickel that is a really, really bad, as far as I can tell, struck through grease error. This does not look like post-mint damage. It does not look like it's been buffed out as far as I can tell. If you guys can tell just from looking at this picture or this video here, you let me know in the description down below. But this grease strike is so bad, we literally can't make out hardly any of the lettering. You can make out a little bit of Liberty there, but that's about it. The only reason you'd know it's a 2005 is from the reverse, and we've got a pretty bad grease strike on the reverse as well. I think the 5 cents on the bottom is hard to make out, as well as some of the states of here in America. So I'm going to see if I can do a little research before the end of this video and understand what kind of value we're looking at here. But this is a pretty bad struck through grease error if you were to ask me. So I think we're on roll 6, give or take, and we've come across our next find. I shouldn't say our first find. We've got a Denver mint marked 1959, so the last nickel that we would consider a find of modern generation here. We'll put it up here next to our 53. And I did find another 2005, just to give you guys an idea of how badly this grease strike has affected the obverse of this coin. You can see just how much writing is supposed to be there. So just for some comparison, that's what they look like side by side. So pretty cool. So we're probably into roll, I don't know, 12, 13, somewhere in there. And we've come across our next find, and it is a 1942. Now, if you remember the opening of the nickels here, I said 42 was a 35% war nickel, but 42 was a split year. So some of them are made of copper nickel, some are made of 35% silver. And we need to figure out which one this is, and the way we tell is by looking at the reverse. And unfortunately, this is a copper nickel. There's no mint mark here, which means it's a Philadelphia, and if it were a war nickel, it would have a giant mint mark just above the Monticello building. So it would have a big P, a big D, or a big S right there at the top. So this is just a standard 1942 nickel. No silver here, but still a early 40s nickel find, so we'll add it to the board. So we're making our way through these nickels. We're about 18 rolls in, give or take, and we've come across our next find. We've got ourselves a 1947. Let's check the mint mark here. We have a Philadelphia. Now, for those of you that don't know, 47 is one of the years of the Henning nickel, which is basically a faked nickel. The years for those are 1939, 44, 46, 47, and 53. Most of them present in the same way, but there's a couple of variations of how that thing presents. Some have a little hole here in the R. I'll put this under the scope in just a second. Some have a big die crack that comes down, I think, between the R and the I. And the other way you can tell is many of them are overweigh. So the average nickel is like 4.8, 4.9, 5.0 grams. The fake nickels are about 5.4 grams. So there's a couple of things you're going to want to look for to identify that Henning nickel. I have never found one. The little loop I'm talking about is typically right here at the base of the R, and the die crack would be really, really obvious coming through the top of this coin, and I don't have it. So I'll weigh this up off camera, but I don't have enough evidence to believe this would be a Henning nickel, so we're just going to throw it on the board as a find. So I've got my next 5 rolls out in front of me. This is roll probably 19 or 20, and we've got our next find here. We've got ourselves a 1955. Now, if this is the Philly, it's a semi-key date, which means it's pretty low mintage, pretty super low mintage, actually. If not, if it's the Denver, there is a D over S error we'll check to see if we have here. So let's check it out together. We've got a Denver. So no semi-key there, but we may, or at least we have an opportunity for a mint mark issue. And I am not seeing it. Typically that D over S you would see like the swerve through the S or through the D here, or remnants of an S above or below that D. So I'm not seeing it, so we'll just put it on the board as a find. Okay, I'm getting my next 5 rolls out here. Here's 3 of them. The 4th one you see right here just got it out, and I always kind of lay them out and give them a quick look like I did earlier in the video just to see if anything jumped out. And if you saw it right there, that's the color we're looking for war nickels. Now, that color doesn't always mean war nickel, but you always want to give those a second look. We have ourselves a San Francisco, and it is a 1943. Now, I don't have my list in front of me. This may be one of the war nickels that we need. I'm going to check my book here real quick and come back and let you know. Well, as you can see here, I got my book out, and unfortunately, I already have that 1943S. So this one will just go into the silver stack, so it'll make its way into our little silver trunk, but our little silver chest for the year. But still a cool find on this hunt. So I had 10 rolls left. I was trying to get the next 5 rolled out. You can see this would have been 10 from the end. This is 9 from the end. And as I was spreading them out looking for some buffaloes, I had a couple of things jump out at me. One being this 1948. That came up with the year so I could see it. We got a 1948. I just screwed it up there, but it is a San Francisco. We don't get a lot of San Francisco minted quarters in our hunt, so pretty cool. I don't know where that's going to go. We'll just put him right there for now. And as we continued on down, we had one more poke its way out here. We had a 19 39, just one away from the earliest Jefferson nickel ever made. 38 was that nickel, if you were unsure. And we got ourselves a Philadelphia. Now, both of these, the 38 and 39, both have, I believe, a DDR. And it usually presents down here in 5 cents, and it's super duper doubled. It's really easy to see. I don't see it here. This one may also have like a double die obverse. It's been a while since I've looked at my list for the 39, so let's just check all of the writing to see if anything jumps out at us. We'll check the eyeballs up there. All right, I'm not seeing any DDO or DDR here, but still pretty cool to find a 1939. So sorry guys, bringing you guys right back in. This 1948S, this is why we make lists, and this is why we should keep them handy. That 1948S is actually a semi-key date. So we made a big deal out of the 55 Philly earlier, and we ended up with the 55 Denver, but this 48 San Francisco, I've gone ahead and pulled out my red book just to check the mintage. We've got ourselves here a 1948S at 11.3 million made. Let's see here, that 55 Philly, had we found that? Let's check the mintage on that guy. He was only at 7.888 million, so that would have been a much better find. Unfortunately, it wasn't there, but I'll take this semi-key all day, and I'll check against my album to see if it's an upgrade or something we're inserting. So to carry on, we got the next customer wrapped roll out of there, and I just got it laid out, and again, just going through it, and we've got ourselves a 1954 right here. 1954, we've got a Philly. Again, we'll just put him up there for now, and there was one more that jumped out at me down here near the end. We've got ourselves a 1947, and again, this is one of those Henning nickel years. We've got a 1947 Denver. Quick check. I don't know if the Denver is one of the Henning nickels. I just know 47 is a year we want to check. So no hole on the R, and we're at 4.9 grams, which means we've got a legitimate nickel. So here's the mess left over from me opening the last 5 rolls. I went through the 5th roll here from the end. Here's the 4th roll from the end. And, you know, just to show you guys, I do check the front and back of every nickel. We found something kind of interesting here that if you know something about this, let me know. But see if you spot it here. We've got a 1964. Or do we have a 1987? Or do we have a 1964? Now, I believe this is a fake nickel. Somebody did this. You can see where it looks like it's been routed out here on the edge. I don't know how I would get that out. I don't know if this is a magic trick. I kind of looked for this online real quick after I found it, just to see if there was some knowledge out there on it. But it did say that, you know, most of these double-headed nickels, it's because they've been routed out and then somebody's inserted it. And you can see very clearly here by the edge. They did a pretty darn good job, but still kind of a neat nickel here, and a great little fun thing you could do to play heads or tails with somebody and never ever lose. Okay, well, judging by the length of this video, we are going to go ahead and move these quarters to a part 2, but don't worry, we will release both part 1 and 2 at the same time, so if you do want to stick around and watch part 2, you can go ahead and look in the upper right-hand corner. I'll link to it right here. Or if you don't want, you can finish this video up, maybe catch part 2 at a later date and time. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that it's easy to find my channel. And you get notified next time I do release a new video, and it'll just make it easier to find all of my content. So real quick wrap up here, since we are running a bit long. We found a lot of nickels in this hunt. We're going to start with my favorites, though. I think the two in my, well, there's really 4 kind of big ones in here. But these are 2 of the most interesting nickels I have ever found. This grease strike on the 2005 is absolutely amazing. I did look for coins like this on eBay. There was something kind of similar for $4 or $5, but I have a feeling I could probably fetch a little bit more than that for this coin, just due to the front and the back being so badly grease struck. And this double-sided nickel, I have never found one before. I think whoever did it did a great job. And I just think it's the neatest thing in the whole world. If you know anything about these, or if you kind of have an idea what a value on something this might be, let me know in the comments down below. I'm not really looking to sell these things, but I am curious what the value might be. I guess one day maybe I'll sell this if it's worth enough, but for $4 or $5, I'll hang on to it. As for the rest of our finds, you know, 1939, always cool finding a really early Jefferson nickel. 42, wish it was silver. Of course, our 35% silver war nickels, the 43S, is a great find, and that will go in our silver treasure chest. I'll hang on to this until the end of the video, and we'll drop that in the treasure chest. We did end up with a couple of 47s, unfortunately not Hennig nickels. We had a single 48, a couple of 53s, a 54, a 55 that we were really hopeful would be that Philly semi-key, which it wasn't. And let me back up here. Where did we miss it here? This 48 San Francisco. Oop, there he goes. This was a semi-key date with just a little over 11 million minted. So another cool find. It is not going to be an upgrade in my book because the one I have is a little bit nicer than this one, but still very neat find in semi-key dates. Anyway, where were we? The 55 we talked about. We had a 56, we had a 57, we had a 58, and we had a couple of 59. So all in all, a really, really good hunt. I did a wrap-up of the dimes and the foreigns that we found about halfway through the video. The dimes were kind of fun. The shekels were neat. I think they're worth more than a dime. I'm probably not selling them, but was very interesting to find. And unfortunately, this 1968 Canadian ended up being just clad or steel rather than the silver one that's out there. But still, very cool to find. And we did find a couple of the 68 reverse proofs. So with that, we're going to end it here. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, drop one down below. Leave me a comment. If you like the longer videos, let me know that. If you like the shorter videos, let me know that as well. I'd really appreciate it. While you guys are down there, click that like button. If you're new to the channel, as I said a little bit ago, make sure you click that subscribe button. Then click that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I do release a new video. Special shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys for supporting me each and every month. It means the whole world. And remember, stay tuned or check the videos page on my channel because part 2 of this video, where we're going to go through this $410 in quarters, is right up next. So I'll also leave a title card at the end here to make it easier for you guys to get to. So with that, take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.